Hello, and welcome to episode 135 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about all the Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all things Nintendo. My name is Kevin, and joining me this week in Dreamland to discuss how he gets his air ride on is Harrison. How you doing, Harrison?
We need more Kirby. We did
Yeah.
we I mean, if there's one thing this podcast is missing is more Kirby. And well, that's a big part of our episode today, but I will say that I don't feel like I know any more of the Kirby lore. I need like
Mm.
I really need like an ant dude type to just sit down with me and just like I'll buy him a coffee or something. Not ant dude, he's too busy, but someone like him. And
Yeah, I actually started Kirby in the Forgotten Land this week. It was one of those Switch titles that I'd been meaning to get to forever, and now I finally did. And it's pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know if it's as incredible as people make it out to be, but it's definitely holding my attention for now.
And was there a paid upgrade for that one?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Bowser's Fury thing they did. Like there's like an additional like mini story thing. But I don't think that's out yet. I think that's next week. If it's out, I missed it. I'm not there yet.
I'm so lost on what has upgrades, what has paid upgrades. Like, I see certain indie titles are like slowly rolling out paid upgrades for their game on Switch too. And a lot of times I'm like, why would you even bother? I mean, because like I can understand if you're buying the game new and you have the Switch 2 version, but like I would really have to like an indie title to feel like okay, I'm gonna do a paid upgrade. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know which ones are paid, which ones are free, which ones are different. Um,
Mhm.
because I'm just a Nintendo fan, I guess. Uh, Even if I was an expert, I don't know. I don't have much in the um Nintendo small talk, like, like, Spotlight games, all of that. Uh,
Mhm.
should we look at Victory Bell first? I'm sorry if I cut you off, but if you're on the video version on YouTube, we'll put up a photo of, the mega evolution of Victory Bell now, and if you're one of the, like, 5 Victory Bell fans, I mean, no offense if you are, but, um I can't think of a Pokemon that I'm, like, more in the middle of. Like, it would fall right in the middle of favorite Pokemon if I made a list.
Really? Wow.
I think so. Like, it's just I feel like I don't know. I I
Interesting.
I've never met someone that was like, "Yeah, Victory Bell," but okay, if you are, I mean, that's cool. No offense to you, and this one I have no opinion on. It's different. Did you see anything online about this guy?
No, I haven't really been keeping up with my Pokemon ZA, like little trickles of news that come out. I kind of wait for trailers and I know I'm gonna get it when it comes out. So when that happens, I'm like less likely to follow the development. I'm just like, I'll see it when I get there.
And I'm hijacking this episode, so what did you have next, Kevin? Because I think you have a better plan than me.
Oh, another thing that I was playing around with this week is something that I'm kind of sad it took me this long to get to. I don't know if you use this feature on your Nintendo Switch eShop, but this directly goes into something else I want to talk about. So there's a wish list on there, and I never really paid too much attention to it because just like I didn't really see any need to. But this week, because I'm kind of excited for the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, but I want to wait for it to go on sale. So I was like, "Oh, I'll put it on the wish list there, and that way I won't forget about it." And that's when I noticed that you can filter the wish list not just by like games that are on sale, you can filter it to go price, lowest to highest, highest to lowest, alphabetical, release date, in the order you added it. Like there's so many different ways to filter it. I'm like, I can't believe I haven't been using this wish list thing the whole time. So I added a bunch of games onto the wish list feature that I know I'm going to get in the future, mostly collections like the Mega Man collections and stuff, and I'm gonna wait for them to go on sale, and I'll know when they do.
And they recently changed it so that if you buy a game off your wish list, it gets taken off automatically. And it was like
Oh,
that
interesting.
that took years of not having. So I was always annoyed by that. I know it's a very small thing, but I was like, it's no longer my wish list anymore if I buy it. Or
Yeah, pretty
or
much.
or give me the option. I don't know. It's like I try to I think with the eShop, yeah, I've been very critical of it because yeah, it's like it's functional, but when I think about how I would want to make the Switch or Switch 2 better, yeah, it would start with the eShop. And it would be a lot of those really small things that I encounter, uh whether it's UI or whether it's filtering options, and that's really all we have
Mhm.
in the Nintendo eShop. And I'm just rehashing old things, like I wish I could just filter out words and um uh, if I want to block a game from ever seeing it, I can do that. But you know, you
Well,
know,
the wish list thing, transitions nicely into this week, they revealed the full game lineup for that Mortal Kombat collection, so if anyone hasn't been, following, it's got a lot. I mean, I've already seen people complaining that it doesn't have the Nintendo 64 version of this or this version of the blah, blah, but, like, honestly, to me, they put more in this thing than I thought they were going to, including like behind the scenes, like interviews and clips like that. But it's going to have the original Mortal Kombat, and it has like all the versions of these games. Like original Mortal Kombat, it has arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy, Game Gear, all of those. That's just one game, all those different versions. Then Mortal Kombat 2, it has the arcade, the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the Game Boy, and the 32X version. Mortal Kombat 3. It has the arcade and the Super Nintendo and the Genesis version. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 has arcade, WaveNet arcade, not sure what that is. Um, Super Nintendo versions. Mortal Kombat Trilogy, it's got the PlayStation version. Mortal Kombat 4, it's got the arcade version. Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero is a surprise inclusion. Like, yeah, everybody hates on that game, but now people can experience how bad it is. It's legendary for being like one of the weirdest video game decisions of all time, and now you can see it for yourself if you buy this collection. It would be like putting Superman 64 on like a DC games collection. Um, and then you also have Mortal Kombat Special Forces in there, same deal. Mortal Kombat Advance, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition for Game Boy Advance. So definitely more than I thought they were going to put in there. I honestly thought they were going to put the first three games, all the versions of them, and then maybe some form of Mortal Kombat trilogy or four. I didn't expect all this. So pleasantly surprised.
it kind of sounds like the Star Wars collection they put out recently. Wasn't it Star Wars? Or there was some big collection we
Jurassic
talked.
Park, I think you're thinking of.
Uh,
Jurassic Park had a huge collection.
um, there was some collection we
There was a
talked.
Star Wars collection, but it wasn't I don't think it had this many games in it.
There was some collection we talked about on here that was really expensive. And how much is this collection? Do you know?
They've got different tiers, of course. I think the base tier is 60, and then they have a collector's edition for 70. I forget the difference. It none of it was like it didn't get you any extra games, so I didn't care. It didn't really change what the main game was. And then they of course have like a super collector edition for like 130 bucks that comes with like other physical things.
So then I guess that's a good deal. Whenever there's collector's editions, or whenever there's yeah, collector's games like this, it's hard for me to figure out what the actual uh good price of it is. If it's but it sounds like a lot of games for not a big price. So that sounds
Actually,
pretty
I'm looking
good.
at the Star Wars collection you mentioned right now, and it does have about the same amount of games. I just remember us wondering why they didn't have Shadows of the Empire in it.
But it was like a
But yeah,
hundred
it's a
but it was like 120, wasn't it?
oh yeah, it's 140. So
140, yeah.
this Mortal Kombat, but then again, it's because most of the games in there are like in this Star Wars collection, you're looking at like Xbox generation and newer. Whereas this Mortal Kombat collection, most of the games are like Super Nintendo era. So I think that's keeping the price down.
Yeah. But still, like when I saw the Star Wars collection, it's like 140. 'Cause I'm looking at it, but I remember seeing it thinking, wow, like that would be a cool collection to have. I'm not a Star Wars guy. But then I saw 140, I'm like,
Yeah.
even if it's like 60% off, is that a
Well,
good deal? I don't know.
the thing with that Star Wars collection too is a lot of those games go on sale for 10 bucks all the time. Like I know Star Wars Episode 1 Racer's always on sale. Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 always on sale. Republic Commando's always on sale. I'm not sure about the Jedi Knight, the Jedi Academy games because I don't play those, but I would not be surprised if they're also always on sale. So, yeah, I mean, if you just wait it out, you could probably buy them all individually.
I never will, and if I wanted to, I'm pretty sure the collection on Steam was gonna be like way less. So I don't know. It's just I remember seeing it and thinking, yeah, at $140, it's hard for me to even like process with the amount of games and the price, if that's even a good price. So I guess that's how they get you. I guess that's how they get you.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to bring up Dark Knight because I'm a huge Dark Knight fan. And did you see the Lego trailer?
I did, and I saw that the gameplay is playing like the old Arkham games. Um, I'm on the fence about this one, and I've just recently kind of gotten back into Lego games, and I don't know. It just like it's going through the Nolan trilogy. It looks like, and I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Again, the Lego games, another series that goes on sale all the time. So maybe I can just wait for that. I bought 2 Lego games this week actually because they were, 5 bucks on the eShop. I bought, Lego Marvel Superheroes and Lego City Undercover. Both were 4.99. Can't beat that.
I don't have superheroes. Yeah, I have at least two Lego games that I need to finish. Like
Mhm.
there's a can't even think of it
I
now.
wish they would do more games
For
like Lego
supervillain.
City Undercover though, where it wasn't like an IP, it was like its own original thing, and I understand that, like, they definitely sell more when they attach it to Star Wars or something, but I don't know.
I think
Every
that's what
once in a while, you know?
I think that's what the like adult Lego fans are waiting for. However many of those there are, it seems like there's quite a few. I'm always indifferent about Lego games. Like it's not a genre that I could play over and over again, but I would never hate on it. Like I see a lot of like, oh, you should be playing an adult game, but of course we would never push that on here, of course. But
Uh, I definitely would never push it because I think I mostly play games like that. I'm not, I'm not that type of person at all. I guess Final Fantasy would be as adult or Metal Gear. I play Metal Gear as well, but, like, for the most part, I'm playing, like, my Mario and my Zelda and my Kirby and stuff like that, so I will never tell someone to play an adult game.
Lego City is the only one I finished. I have the whatever supervillains the one there is, and I have another. I can't even think about the ones. I can't even think now. So, I would play the Dark Knight one because that's by far my only favorite like superhero franchise. So, if I didn't have all the other Lego games, I would for sure play it. So that's like in the next 5 years for me, I think. That was one of the
Hopefully, they get a Superman game going or something. I think that would be really cool for it. Like, Lego's the perfect thing for that because, like, part of the problem with making a Superman game is, what do you do when Superman's stories aren't about him being weak to things, unless kryptonite's involved, so it's kinda hard to make a Superman game.
yeah,
But I
and
think I think with Lego it works because those games aren't really about that.
sure, sure, sure. And there's a lot of gadgets. There's the Batmobile. There's being born in darkness.
actually, Bane is isn't he's in this one. He's in this new game. Um, so so yeah, we should move on before I start talking about Batman. So
Yeah, let's talk about, the Silk Song or Kirby Air Riders, you pick.
oh
Those
oh
those are the next those are the 2 biggest things to talk about this week.
oh okay. Okay, well, um, I'm I'm more excited to talk about Silk Song, so
Sell me on it. I know
yeah.
nothing about this franchise. Sell me on this franchise. What do we got?
So whatever day it was, the developer of Silk Song, I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram, whatever, he posted a photo of himself wearing a clown nose. So we pretty much assumed that we were getting some sort of announcement at Gamescom, and I think and they had a demo. Yeah, yeah, they had a live demo there. And then I don't know how how much in advance they announced their their premiere of this trailer, but I didn't know about it until like maybe 10 minutes or so before that, and I just jumped in and I was just getting hyped about it. So it's really interesting that an indie game that's only had one game before it, that came out 8 years ago. Hollow Knight came out February 2017. It came out before the Switch was even out, so it's been that long, and it was. I mean, it was over 300,000 people watching live. I was in a stream. I was in a different live stream that had over 10,000 in it. So I have to imagine that there was easily over 500,000 people watching it live when it premiered.
Mhm,
And just the amount of hype that I see indie games being able to create with very, very little marketing, just kind of letting the games speak for themselves. Like, again, they released
mhm,
one game that was so good, and then, there's been some talk of Silk Song, and there was even a little clip of it in the main Switch 2 Direct, but there hasn't been very much of it, um, at all. So, yeah, this game comes out September 4th.
which was it exactly 2 weeks, from when the trailer came out, so it's less than 2 weeks now.
That's
Um,
crazy.
this is either
That's practically a shadow drop. That's, it's
yeah. Well, I was going into it because I think it came out at about 9 PM my time,
mhm.
and I kept refreshing Steam because 'cause I'm thinking, "If this game comes out tonight." It was like I was, like, looking over my clock, I was like, "I guess I could stay up all night. I guess I could stay up until, like, 2 or 3 playing this if I wanted to." Because it had been so long, and it had been announced for years. This is like Metroid Prime. It had been announced years
Yeah.
ago that this game was gonna be coming out, and then there was just no news of it, so we just knew it had been so long, and I was like, anything goes. This game could come out immediately and just blow everyone away. But yeah, 2 weeks is like nothing. Pretty sure I'm playing it if I have enough time, I'm playing it day one. If not, I'll just
Mhm.
join in on the hype because I think this game is going to do uh record numbers, whatever that means. And I think it's al already, like, it's gonna be in conversations of nominations at least for Indie Game of the Year. It's been kind of an interesting year for indie games, with a few different games kinda coming out of nowhere from solo developers and just, blowing all, publishers out of the way, um anyways, if you want to be sold on it, Hollow Knight is one of I think the best and complete, well balanced Switch indie games. It is a Souls-like Metroidvania. It is not easy. It's not easy at all,
That was
and
gonna be my next question is what's the difficulty
it is.
level?
I think it's extremely hard. Now, is it Is it Dark Souls hard? It's a Souls-like, so,
Mhm.
you have to ask the experts on that, but, I finished it once. I've
Mm.
never gotten the true ending, which I'll never do because I think for me, it would just take way too long. This new game, from what I've heard from Gamescom, is that it feels faster, and it certainly looks like the map is bigger and there's gonna be more bosses overall. So, I think Hollow Knight is a $20 game. So I'm not sure if this one I'm guessing 30. I'm not surprised if it's 40. But I'm guessing
Okay.
30. No matter what it's gonna be, if you play through it, it's gonna be worth the money. Um, but man, I just can't get over it. Just like there's been a few times, only a few times in the last 5 years or so, where I've had this nostalgia kind of hype feeling where I get to experience something that we wait for, and I get to experience among other people at the same time. And it's something
Mhm.
that when we were kids and when we were in high school or whatever, we had that all the time. And
Yeah,
um
that's why I hate that Nintendo is doing what they've been doing lately, where they like haven't been giving us any release dates and stuff. And it's like, I want to look forward to something, guys. Like, tell me something that's coming out next spring or even next, you know what I mean? Like, give me something that's a little far out,
yeah,
but they're just keeping everything so close to the chest right now.
yeah. And Nintendo has offered those experiences. It's very there's not very much of that anymore. It's very, very different now. But I certainly had that sort of feeling of like, even though it was a digital space, I felt like I was like in a room with other people, kind of sharing that experience. Because I mean, I'm not even like biggest fan of this game, but I understood the emphasis of that moment because it's just a game that
we've been waiting for a long time, and we I've never been so sure that a game is going to be good. It just I just can't see how this game is not good. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I mean, I would encourage anyone, especially if you get it on sale. I mean, it's worth the $20. But if you get it on sale, like I would encourage anyone to play Hollow Knight. And that'll tell you exactly if you want to play Silksong or not. Man, I can't.
It's
I
cool that they didn't change the name too. They announced it forever ago as Silksong, I'm guessing, and, like, I hate when they announce things as one thing and then before it comes out, they change the name. It's I don't know, there's something about that kinda, like, irks me.
and apparently it just took a while because they just kept adding things to it and they just kept polishing it. And it's great to
Mhm,
see, any developers do that as well because they don't have that sort of luxury that Nintendo or or first party developers have where it's like, "Oh, we're just gonna throw all this away, we're just gonna
mhm,
scrap all of this." That's not always the case, and we see lots of indie developers too. They make that money and they dip, and I don't blame them, honestly. Like I really, really don't. So it's great to see just overall passion projects. So what other games in the last few years have made us feel this way? So I didn't put it on my list, but uh Animal Crossing New Horizons was certainly that for
mhm.
me. And that was COVID also. That was just like ramped up so much. Uh Tears of the Kingdom felt like one
Yeah,
of
the
those.
our, like, whole first year of the podcast was hyping that game up.
Yeah, and that felt like one of those when it was finally there, it it was, "Wow, it's here, I can't believe it." Uh,
Mhm.
what else I have? Metroid Prime 4, of course, because of the circumstance of that game, and, Stardew Valley 1.6 had a similar feeling, just seeing everyone just, like, waiting for that new drop to come out. What else? What do you got?
I wasn't really thinking of like, Tears of the Kingdom is the big one, obviously. But off the top of my head, I don't know if I have anything lately. I definitely was hyped for I know it's also Zelda, but I was hyped for, uh, Link's Awakening when they announced that, but I think that was a relatively short window. Um, what else did I get hyped for? I mean, Mario RPG when they announced it too, but those were all, like, announced pretty much right before they were released, so
It
like, that's what I'm saying is I wish Nintendo would announce things a year out like they used to.
Yeah, it
Um,
had to be a game, I guess, that was, like, announced that you were, like, waiting for a while. I think the new 3D Mario is gonna be like that.
the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection, even though that's not specifically Nintendo,
Mhm,
I
sure.
was really hyped for because as I've said on this podcast several times, before my Switch, I was always trying to get one device that could have all my Final Fantasy games on it, and that allowed it to finally happen with my Switch. Is have 1 through 12 all on one device. I had a PSP back in the day where I had ROMs of the games, but now I finally officially had it, so that was really cool.
Maybe we'll have something this year. There's something missing, and
Mhm.
this will lead us into the next segment very well, because if this is it for the holiday, it's gonna be a little bit strange, isn't it? Uh,
No, I think, I put out on Blue Sky this week, I predicted the rest of Nintendo's calendar year, so that might be something, good to read right now. I don't think this is gonna be it for the holiday. Did they what's the release date for Air Riders? Did they drop that yet?
they did.
They must have. It's gotta be in that
They
presentation
did.
somewhere. It's coming out next month, right?
I think so.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
we're not, experts, we're just fans.
keep talking.
Um So when I predicted this right before the Kirby Air Riders direct came out. I said My prediction for the rest of Nintendo 2025 is Kirby Air Riders launches in September. Then we're gonna get a full direct in September because they usually do a September direct. That's not one of those ones where like everybody's like, "Oh, there's a rumor there's going to be one next week and next week and next week." No, they almost always do a September direct. So, Kirby Air Riders. Then we're going to get a September direct with more info on Prime 4 and whatever they're doing for Mario's 40th because Mario's 40th is also in September. Um I also saw today that Prime 4 was rated by the ESRB. So wait till the German ratings board rates it because the game has to be 100% complete in Germany to be rated. But that's a good sign. Anyway, I think Luigi's Mansion is coming to the GameCube service after that. Then in October, we have Pokemon Legends ZA. And then I think that what they have going September, October, I think November is going to be Metroid Prime 4, especially because that's when they delayed the Metroid Prime art book. They delayed it into November.
But
So
Air
that's my predict. That's
Riders
going to be their holiday.
Air Riders is November 20th. So
What?
it's right before Thanksgiving.
Well, that throws a wrench in my whole prediction. Kind of feels like okay. Now I'm going to do some rumor mongering and speculation. Kind of feels like they might be filling Metroid's spot there. Like they said, "Oh, Metroid isn't gonna be ready by November 20th. Let's put Air Riders there." I don't know, because Air Riders looks pretty done.
They could release both in the same month.
Nah, I don't think so.
I
You can
I
only
think
release one game a month. It's the law.
they could. I I I think they could. They're
Yeah.
too they're very totally different games and two different again two very different circumstances. We have one game that was scrapped at least two times and everyone's been waiting for, and then we have Kirby Air Riders, which Sakurai came out and was like, "Do you guys want this game? Because you have Mario Kart World." Which is pretty much how he started the
Yeah.
presentation. Um, I talked I think last week about wait, what presentation was did we have a presentation last
Donkey
week?
Kong. Donkey Kong. It wasn't last week, it was the week before.
Oh man, I'm so lost on my news right now and what came out when. We've had a lot of presentations,
Mhm.
I guess. Um,
Yeah,
no, it was the
that's
indie
what it
direct.
was. You're right.
That's what I was talking about. About
Yep.
how maybe keep the interviews late, like for another part on a different video. Keep
Yeah.
the trailers going. When it's Sakurai, I think Sakurai, I mean, he probably have his own podcast for Japanese listeners, but like
Mhm.
having him talk about just games is such a fun thing to have. It's such a, like a fun luxury for Nintendo. Nintendo is lucky that they do have a lot of people that can talk about games passionately and put that gameplay first.
Mhm.
Overall, I mean, I thought the Air Riders presentation, I thought it was a bit strange that it started out a little bit slow to the point where I was looking at it going, it looks a little bit uh like barren. It looks a little bit like empty at first. But once we got into the live demo, all of those worries just kind of went away because Sakurai was able to show like how everything kind of works together. And it's evident, like I didn't play the first one, so I think it's going to be familiar to whoever played the first game, but it is
They
evident
added a
that
button.
they did add a button, which he didn't want to do. I don't think I don't think he wanted
Yeah.
to do that. And they're keeping the same idea where it where you don't press a button to accelerate, which I think is such a smart idea and could easily be something that if you're not Sakurai, you could easily say, all right, we'll just go to the traditional, like press the R trigger to accelerate. That's what everyone
Uh-huh.
knows. But no, they didn't do that, and it's clear that they are leaning into the Smash Brothers graphic style and sound, audio style, and everything just seems very well connected. Like um,
Hmm.
similar to Smash Brothers, it seems like they're trying to make sure they're always having gameplay not too far away with whatever you're doing, especially in that city trial open world where you can like just drive up to someone and start a mini race, or you can get to a race early and do like a little like ghost race where you can collect items. I think it's just all very well thought out with Sakurai, not surprised. So, what were your initial thoughts on it?
I was surprised that when I saw that it was going to be 40 minutes, I was like, really on a Kirby racing game? I was like, that's crazy. I mean, they did fill the time. Um, I don't think this is gonna be one that I pick up personally, but, like, for because 'cause I'm not that into racing games, but, uh, I'm glad that it's out there. I'm glad that there's something non-traditional, something in the vein of a Mario Kart, but not Mario Kart, because obviously last time we really had a solid Mario Kart competitor was, Diddy Kong Racing, which is an amazing game, so, we can have more than one. So, hopefully this is the Diddy Kong Racing for the Switch too.
Yeah. I think I wonder if the time was like, "Hey, Sakurai, how much time do you need?"
Yeah.
Alright. I wonder if they just gave him whatever, because, I mean, and it's just like YouTube stuff. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to fit into a certain time slot. So I
Yeah.
wonder if they just gave Sakurai however much time he wanted, and he did 2 live demos, which were really the only gameplay that we got during the whole thing, and I thought that was pretty cool. I'm gonna be lost. I'm the same way at a $70 price point. I'm probably
Yeah,
not.
that's where it lost me for sure is I don't know. I will be interested to see how this does at $70. I don't think the world is ready for a $70 Kirby game.
I think it will. I don't think it will do that well, but I think it's gonna do as good as they're expecting it to.
Yeah.
Because I honestly I don't have any negatives, which is like the tricky part. Because I'm basically saying this is good, but in the end, um, even at 30% off where it would be $49, I'm still probably not picking it up. This is like a maybe I would pick it up used physical so I could, eventually not have it in the future. It's difficult. It is difficult, but I also am not going to be playing Mario Kart World, I don't think. At an $80 price point. So it just is what it is. I think this game's super
Yeah.
cool. I think it's
Yeah,
I
like I
think it's
said, I'm
super,
glad
super
it's
cool.
there, to be something different than a traditional racer. Who knows, maybe we'll still get an F-Zero game too. But I don't know. It's just like I have so little time to play games. I know I'm not going to play this one. I'm just glad it's there for. I could see a version of myself that would have wanted this. Like I'm glad it's there for those people.
And yeah, I mean, it is Smash Brothers for sure. Like it is the whole Smash Brothers
Oh yeah,
style.
Forgotten Land. I don't know if you've played Kirby in the Forgotten Land, but that has a lot of Smash Brothers, echoes to it as well.
So I'll be waiting to see what kind of updates we get about that. There'll be a lot of hype around that as well because it'll have been so many years, and Again, we did a whole segment in the past about how I have no idea what they do.
with that game. They made Mario Kart open world. Uh, Smash Brothers, I don't know. Make Smash Brothers open world. I don't care.
Hmm.
So cool. Yeah. That comes out November 20th. I guess people will be picking it up
For Black Friday,
Mhm.
or maybe it'll be on sale for Black Friday. Probably not. Probably not. Um, what what else did we have for today? Did you have anything else? I had one more.
I mean, there's a quick headline of a story that Metal Gear Solid producers are training younger developers to continue the series. Good.
Younger
Moving on.
developers. Are they dying?
Yeah. Hmm? No, they're
Are they-
just they're, Hideo Kojima's been done with the series. And I'm glad the series is gonna continue on. Hopefully they reboot it though, because the timeline's getting kind of crazy.
D- Does that man control his own social media? Because
I don't know.
I made the mistake of going on his social media the other day, and that man tweets like he has 2 Twitter accounts, and he tweets nonstop, or he shares things nonstop, including quite a lot of cosplayers. Just saying, just putting that out there.
I think I know why, but anyways, yeah, I didn't know that about him. He be tweeting. He tweets. Um,
That's interesting, though. Okay, younger people for that. Well, I wanted to talk about some third party things. It's not the most positive, but um, they did show off Elden Ring at Gamescom, but they didn't allow anyone to take video of it, which is just weird. And From Software, I'm not sure about their history of ports to actual consoles. Their PC ports have been a bit iffy. I'm not sure about how the Dark Souls one was for Switch. I just know that it took a year. It took a little bit longer than expected. But apparently, reports from those who have played it said that it plays really, really bad. and I think it should be alarming that From Software would show off the game in this state and then also not allow people to do any sort of like media coverage on it at all. So we have seen big developers, small developers put out games on Switch where they clearly weren't ready and they knew that it wasn't ready. And then it stayed up on the online service forever and never got fixed because they probably paid for a license and they don't want to take it off the service. It's been pretty um, yeah, iffy, I would say, with third party with the Switch 2 right now, and of course, you know, it's a first party system. Everything goes through first party, but I want to talk about it because Nintendo talked about third party a lot leading up to the Switch 2. So I think it's only right that
we kind of look at it. They don't give out a lot of numbers, of course, but looking at the Famitsu Japan numbers, it doesn't look like third party for Nintendo is doing that well. Um, the last third party um, game that was in the top 10 overall was Tamagotchi Plaza back in July.
that was only 4,000 units. Um, and pretty much every third party game that has been praised for Switch 2 also has some criticisms, like WWE
2025, was praised, but has issues with online play. Cyberpunk 2077 is impressive, but plays more like a PS4 version than a PS5 version. And it's just it's an issue kind of already, I think. So I'm very interested to see how Nintendo kind of handles it. 'Cause it feels like we went from being like the Switch 2 is like a PS5 to it's like a PS4 Plus to now it's a PS4 to um I don't know. I don't know, but it's not the best. Any feelings, any thoughts about this?
Um, you said it all.
I said it all.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's just where we are.
yeah, and I wanna bring it up because Nintendo showed off third-party games leading up to the Switch 2.
Yeah.
So, and I have a lot of, hope for third-party games on the Switch 2 because, um
Well, the lead up to the Switch 2, they were talking about how third-party developers are, like, gung ho, like, they're upset that they missed out on the Switch because they didn't see the genius of it, and they're like, we're gonna make sure we don't make that mistake this time, and we're getting right on the Switch 2." And then the Switch 2 had all the negative press, and I don't think they've dialed anything back, but, certainly with the game key cards, they've been hitting some speed bumps, we'll say. It hasn't stopped them, but there's been some speed bumps.
Right, right, and I think the game key cards don't go away, it just gets better over time,
Mm,
meaning that there's different sizes and there's different options for, especially for indie developers, they just can't afford, putting it on a 64 gig cart when the game is
yeah.
only $20 or something. So, I
Which
think
is part
that
of why Kirby Air Riders is 70 bucks, by the way. I think they said it's coming on a 64 gig, cart.
mm, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, so that's it. I mean, it's not the most positive thing, but I just hope that, in my mind, I'm looking at it more, pragmatically that hey, like the first couple months, um, I I think we're gonna look back at the legacy of the Switch 2 and remember like, oh yeah, like that was an awesome system, but it had a few interesting things that happened around its release.
You know what I was saying to
So,
Sean yesterday in a text message, because he was talking about how he's not interested in Kirby and, like, the Switch 2 hasn't been grabbing him yet, and I said, "To me, the Switch 2 so far reminds me of the transition from Nintendo 64 to GameCube." It's kind of funny that GameCube is, available now on the Switch 2 because, the Switch was innovative just like the Nintendo 64 was innovative, and it feels like the Switch 2 is just, hey, here's more of the same, but with better hardware. And it's not like it's not as memorable yet, but maybe they'll get those games out there.
yeah, and was this ever intended to be the pro that we were all calling
Mm.
it and talking about? Who knows? Like, could this system had come out 2 or 3 years before this, and it's like the pro version? Because I don't even know where these generations are gonna stand in 5 years. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we get to a point where we're not even talking about generations anymore because maybe Xbox goes away or and then at that point um PlayStation and Nintendo are releasing systems on totally different timelines. Um it's hard to
Nintendo's
say how
already
we
pretty much half a step, off from everyone else.
yeah.
So
It's interesting you say that though because I mean I don't have the Switch 2 yet, but it it feels like DS and 3DS to me where
that's also another way to look at it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know it's more that's more on the nose, like DS, 3DS, Switch 2, but
Yeah, because
3DS.
I was thinking mainly of it because of, like, I had finished Donkey Kong Bonanza, and, I was thinking of how it kinda reminded me of, like, shifting from, like, um, Mario 64 to Mario Sunshine or something, like, it's like, that here's your upgrade, so I know it's not as drastic graphically as it was back then, but gameplay-wise, it felt like it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the difference between DS and 3DS was like huge in my mind, at least at the
Yeah.
time. So
Switch and Switch 2 might not be like that, but I think there's similarities there. Um, would it change if we viewed it like a Switch Pro? It wouldn't change the overall
I
experience, but it might change the optics.
I think the internet would be way less upset if it were. That might be a discussion for another day, but I think a lot of the things people are complaining about would seem like less of a big deal if it wasn't the new system and it was just like an upgrade of the system, like, especially, like, the cost of it and things like that, but we live in
Yeah,
this universe, we'll never know.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'll leave it there because I really don't know because the hardware costs seem pretty like if it was a Switch Pro,
Mhm.
then it's $100 upgrade from a Switch OLED at the time, at the time at least. Um, okay. So I think that might change the overall perception, at least in the online
Yeah.
space, but not the experience. So I'll leave it there.
All right, so let's get on to this spotlight game. This week, we talked about Blast Core for the Nintendo 64. It came out in North America in March of 1997 and Japan in June of 97. This is a Rare game, the developer Rare. It's one of the weirdest, most original games they made for the Nintendo 64. It's they blew up with GoldenEye, and instead of spies or platforming mascots like Banjo Kazooie, this one's about demolition. The premise is absolutely bonkers. It's about a nuclear missile carrier has lost its brakes and it's rolling across the world on a fixed path. And if it so much as s- rubs up a little bit against a building, kaboom. So your job is to clear the path so that this thing can get through. You've got bulldozers, you've got dump trucks, you've got like a giant mech thing that I never really liked the mech, but maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. Um there's a dune buggy with a rocket booster, there's all kinds of vehicles. Um every vehicle, it has a different way of leveling the buildings, so the gameplay was like half puzzle, half chaos. You're trying to figure out how to knock stuff down as fast as possible, and then, you're actually knocking it down before this thing would crash into it. It's also one of those games that doesn't really fit neatly into a genre. It's not a racer, it's not a platformer, it's not an action game. It's just quirky, creative fun, and once you get it, you get it. Critics at the time loved the originality. They said the graphics looked a little dated even for 1997. Um, and a fun fact I found out about this game is that Blast Core was originally planned as a Godzilla game where you'd control monsters stomping through the cities, but Nintendo didn't want to use licensed characters, so they spun it into a demolition game instead. Never sold like Banjo or GoldenEye, but it's remembered as a cult classic and one of the Nintendo 64 games people still talk about when they want something different. So, how was your experience with the game this week?
Yeah, sold pretty well though.
It
Oh, yeah.
said like on the wiki that it sold close to 1,000,000, but then I saw in other places that it sold over than 1,000,000. So whatever.
Mm,
But I did see that if you were to want to pick up this game on eBay, it's pretty cheap. So I think
there are still lots of copies out there. It is not a rare game by rare. Just adding on to
Yeah,
what you said, and yeah, the Godzilla part is something that I learned this week, and that is very interesting, especially that vehicular combat games. Now, this game doesn't fit into one genre, but vehicular combat games weren't uncommon at the time, and, it definitely fits into just an overall, I just wanna have kind of fun experience. We had,
yeah.
Twisted Metal, which came out after this. We had older games like, Carmageddon, Destruction Derby. We had older games, uh sorry, like newer games like Burnout, which had a whole I forget, it's like a destruction. The goal is to do as much damage as possible. And it's the most fun mode because anyone can play it. If you can crash the
Mhm.
car, all you have to do is crash. It's very easy to
Yep.
crash, right? Uh and shout out if anyone remembers WWE Crush Hour. It came out in GameCube, um, came out on PlayStation, was canceled for Xbox, but it was like a vehicular combat WWE game. I mean, back in the day, we just made games for fun. And actually going back now to Blast Core, that's what a lot of initial reviews I saw talked about, and that's how I felt, is that I think it was intentional that they were not trying to fit the graphics into the typical everything's got to be 3D, everything's got to be
Mhm.
photorealistic, quote unquote. Um and that they were trying to put the gameplay first. It's been a very gameplay first episode for us this week. Um, I think that even like the controls are not good, but I think overall it's just like a very agreeable, easy game. If they were to refine it and make a new one, which I know you want to talk about, I don't see why they haven't done more of it because it's a very easy game to like get into, especially if they made a refined version of it. So,
Mhm.
are you surprised that we have not seen more Blast Core?
Well, unfortunately, Rare, they got bought by Microsoft, and then Microsoft buried them in the backyard. So I wish, I wish all of their properties were back with new installments. They wouldn't be the first one I'd pick. Still waiting on a third
Oh, yeah.
Banjo game that is actually part of the trilogy and not nuts and bolts. Um, but yeah, I would definitely play a new game, especially like I feel like this is one of those games you could drop for like a $20 price point and just like put out like a remake with like added levels or something like a modern remaster with new combat levels or something. I'd definitely spend money on that. This was one of the first games I bought when I started collecting retro games. It was one of the first ones that I was like, okay, what did I miss like, during the different video game periods that I want to go back to. So yeah, this was one of the first ones that was on that list for me. Believe it or not, I know I always talk about Banjo-Kazooie as though I played it when it came out. That was another one. Banjo-Kazooie was one I didn't play until it was like 2002 or 3. So, the GameCube had been out. Like, wasn't an old game yet, but it wasn't, modern. So, um, but yeah, Blastcore, great game. I would definitely play a modern remake.
While you were talking about this, because I did look up, I thought about comparisons that I can make. Like, I played a game like Teardown on Steam that reminded me of
Mhm,
that. Even the Katamari series kinda reminded me, like, of the overall, like, goal that you have in the game. While you were talking, I looked up to see, did they ever make a game based on the movie Speed? But I don't think
mhm.
they ever did.
'Cause isn't that kind of similar? Like, you can't stop, right?
Yeah,
You gotta keep going or it explodes. They should have done that. They could have easily made a game like that, but,
yeah.
uh sprites, super cool. I mean, even more of a reason why I'd want a more modern version of this game. Music is great, no surprise for Rare, especially in this generation. What else for gameplay? Controls, not so great, but what else do you think about gameplay?
It does take it is one of those games where you sometimes have to replay levels because you're not completely clear on what the goal is at first. You don't know what the path is going to be or something like that. So that is something that hasn't completely aged well, but they do their best of keeping you in the direction you're supposed to go. So there you get that for gameplay. I don't know. I think it's a great game. I don't like the mech, but other than that, and it fits in nicely with Pilot Wings, I think. If you're gonna pair this with something, another launch title, I think this totally fits with Pilot Wings. Like in one, you're trying to land the plane perfectly and you're trying to make as few waves as possible. And then when you get frustrated playing Pilot Wings, you can take your frustration out in this and just destroy everything.
Yeah, definitely a fun game. Not one that will rank too high for me, but certainly one that I think
Just fits in with the time,
Mhm.
very, very well. Does not feel like a parody of itself. Thinking about other games that we've reviewed on here recently, it does feel like a
Mhm.
rare title that is 100%, 90s video games. So
Yep.
I think that would lead into my recommendation, but I'll ask you first. Like, who would you recommend this game to?
I recommend this to anyone who's looking for a game that doesn't have a whole lot of depth. They want to play what you kind of like call like a video game, like one that's just like you said, it's just fun and you turn your brain off. This is like the video game equivalent of an action movie. You're just like you don't think about it too much. You just destroy stuff and move on. Actually, a lot of the appeal of the new Donkey Kong Bonanza is people smashing stuff. So if you liked that, maybe you might want to look into this. More smashing. I
Yeah.
rated it at number 28, so just out of the top 30. I put it above Jet Force Gemini, which is another rare game, and I put it right below Wario Land 4 on the Game Boy Advance.
And I'm gonna put it at 75, so that's actually in the middle. That's actually, like, right
Okay.
smack dab in the middle, and it's crazy that 75 is still at the point where I would say, "Yeah, I'd play this game again." Um, but I I think, as far as how the game is aged, for me personally, it would have to rank a little bit lower. Not crazy about the controls and, uh
I wonder if they'd be better if you
yeah,
used a Nintendo 64 controller, because I used that this week. And I know
probably
a lot of games on that Nintendo 64 service play awkward on a Switch controller.
that's probably true. I think so.
I I think so. Uh and yeah, I agree with you completely. And if anyone, wants to go through the history of Rare, it's on the service. So
That's
Mhm.
good. That's good too. Are we missing any big rare titles anymore? I didn't look, but
We haven't done perfect. Oh, you mean on the
on the
service,
service,
or
yeah,
that we've reviewed
yeah,
on the service?
yeah.
No, there's not much. Just Diddy Kong Racing and Donkey Kong 64, which
Mm,
everyone keeps begging Nintendo for.
right, right. Um,
That's got to come one day. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. That that'll be a big release when it comes. Cool, cool. Well, I'm not gonna get off topic too much. What are we?
Playing next week, I guess.
Let's see. All right, so I grouped these games together as a trilogy because I don't think there's any point in ever talking about them individually. The Game Boy Advance trilogy of Den Dens Densetsu no Starfy. You know what I'm talking about? Ringing any bells? There's
Densetsu. No.
there's Denetsu no Starfy 1, 2, and 3. They're Japanese games that are on the service. So I pretty much grouped them all together. I'm not familiar with this series. I don't know if that was a bad idea or not. But I did it.
Okay. Okay. Platformer? I don't know.
I don't know anything about this series to tell you the truth. I know that it's a trilogy and
Look,
I know that we didn't get it in North America.
looks cute.
That's everything I know. Yeah.
Starfield looks cute. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about those, and that'll actually help our GameCube numbers because I was looking, and GameCube, I mean not GameCube, Game Boy
Mhm.
Advance gets pulled the least often on the randomizer. So it's good to add 3 titles to that.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
All right. So thank everybody for listening. Thank you for following us if you do. If you don't, you know how to do that. Click that little bell on YouTube, or I don't know what you click on Spotify to subscribe, but subscribe, like us, let us know, comment down below. Comment down below this week if you think Kirby Air Riders is going to be a game you're interested in buying. I'd like to know how many people out there are going to jump on that $70 price tag. So comment down below if that is you. No judgment, just want to know. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you all next time for more Nintendo Therapy.